10 videos from Huston Kold, and in each video we will break one of his reel styles to learn them. In this video we are going to learn how we can create this reel in Adobe After Effects. This reel is very simple and everyone can achieve it. So without any further ado, let's just start. Alright, so here we are inside of Adobe After Effects, and now let's watch the reel first.
And if your stuff is mediocre, you are losing the battle. And if your stuff is mediocre, you are losing the battle. And if
So as you see, the reel starts with a sort of creation of an iPhone, and then it turns into a real iPhone, and then we have some text animation. So this reel is pretty simple, and now let's just start with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm just going to design the background. So to do that, I'm just going to press Ctrl+Y, and I'm going to call it background, and let's hit OK, and let's just turn off it for a second, and let's just add a gradient ramp. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to get a black color from here and the red color from here. So this is the background. And now let's go to the second step, which is designing these iPhone mockups. So I'm just going to get the color, and I'm going to go towards the rounded rectangle tool. I'm going to create a rounded shape like this, and you can hold the up and down arrow key to play with the roundness. So about here should be fine, I guess. So here's good. Okay, this is good. Now I'm gonna turn it into 3D. Let's press R to reveal the rotation and rotate it on the Y-axis. So this is good. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna duplicate this shape. Let's just turn off the fill, and let's just turn on the stroke, and let's just set it on 2 pixels. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna use the scale, and I'm gonna scale it like this. And let's just set it on, let's say 4 for now. Okay, this is the second one, and then I'm just gonna duplicate it for one more time, and then I'm just gonna duplicate this one for about here, and this should be good. So let's just play with the position a bit. Oh, that's the scale. So for me here should be fine, but however it's a little bit big. We can just adjust it like this. Okay, this seems good for me. And now let's just rename it. This will be the small one, this will be the medium one, and this will be the large one. Okay, this is good. Now let's just turn off the reference for a second, and let's just play with the background. So here's the animation, and now we need to work on the text. So let's just align it a bit. Right now they are not aligned. Okay, and I believe it was if your stuff. So let's just, if your stuff is, so let's just quickly write the text. So if your, and the font seems good for me. And then let's just duplicate it, and this is going to be our text, and let's just set it on 3D as well. And we need to push it a bit further than the small rectangle. So this is good as well. Now let's just go into animating these objects. So let's just quickly reveal the reference to see how it was animated, so we can replicate the movement. So as you see, the main movements are made with trim path and also with a mask or path animation, and the text is revealed, gets revealed word by word. So it's overall pretty simple. Let's just start with the text. So I'm just gonna write slide and pop in the effects and preset tab, and then let's just set it on here. Let's just bring down the text to here, and let's just set it for this one as well, and let's just offset it pretty quickly. Okay, this is fine.
And if your stuff is mediocre.
Okay, this is good. Now let's just go into the small rectangle. I'm just gonna open the rectangle, and in the rectangle path, I'm just gonna right click on it to convert it to Bezier path. So this way I will access to the path animation. Let's just set a keyframe, and on 50 frames another one. And then what we are going to do is that we're just going to select the first path. We're going to press V to go towards the selection tool, and then we're just going to select all of the points. Let's set the anchor point on down, and then we are going to set it like this, and we can zoom in to sort of match it like this. Okay, so this will be
and if your stuff is
medium. Okay, this is good. Let's just set it on the 65% influence. Now let's go for the medium one. The medium one, we are going to add a trim path. So this is the trim path, and then I'm just gonna set it on 0, and again on the 50 frames, let's just set it on 100. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna copy the trim path and I'm gonna paste it for the large one. But the thing is that let's just paste it for the large one so we can. But the thing is that if we reveal the reel, you will see that the iPhones are not appearing on the same way. They have some difference in offset. So we need to work on the offset in here. So this is also easy. I'm just gonna open the large one and I'm gonna go towards the, let's go towards the path and the rectangle path. And then I'm just gonna change the direction of the path. So as you see, this will now fix the issue. And then in order to even make it better, we can just open the trim path and we can work on the offset. So this will just be mandatory. Okay, this is good. Now what we need to do is that we need to also set the easings on 65% for both trim paths. So this will be our animation.
And if your stuff is mediocre.
Okay, this is good. Now I'm just gonna turn off the audio for a second, but we're gonna leave it for the transition later on. But now what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna need to offset the keyframes because right now they are appearing at the same time. This is not what we want. So let's just offset them quickly. So this is the medium one. I'm just gonna offset it for here, and this is the large one. I'm gonna offset it like this. Okay, this is good. This is super good. A bit more. Okay, this is great. Now what I need to do is that I need to add the camera animation. So to do that, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to create a new camera, and the type is set on 2-node camera, which is fine. The preset is set on 35mm. This is also fine. And as I have mentioned in my tutorials, in order to control the 2-node camera better, we will need a node. This will allow us to control it better and add multiple camera movements at the same time. So in order to make the camera work, we need to parent it to the null, and then we need to set the null on 3D. And I'm gonna call this one the camera controller 1. Okay, this is good. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna create a basic zoom in animation. So let's go for the 50, and then I'm just gonna create a basic zoom in animation. Okay, so as you see right now it's too big, so we need to, you know, turn down the first movement a bit like this. Okay, this is good, but it's still too much. Okay, around here should be fine. Good. So let's just go a bit further, like let's go around here, should be fine. Okay, so this is the basic movement. Now, when we open the reel for this, let's just reveal it for a quick second. You will see that we have a morph animation in here. The reel would transition into another scene. So how are we going to make that? Well, it's pretty easy. But for now, let's just start with making the second scene. So right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to reveal the reel one more time. Let's just bring the iPhone in here. I have a phone mockup in here. Let's just scale it down, and let's just also set it on 3D like this. This is good. Let's just adjust it in here. Great. Now we need to flip it. So I'm just going to go towards the transform, flip horizontal, and this will fix the issue. So this is good around here. Now, also, if I extend the reel and we go further, you will see that this is the complete animation of the charts that we have in here. We have a floor in here, and we have some you know, charts. So let's just design that. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to start with a rectangle like this, and let's just get the color. So For now, this will be our color. Let's just draw a rectangle like this. Let's also set it on 3D, and I'm gonna call it floor. And let's just set it on 3D. Let's just also rotate it like this. And let's just adjust it quickly. This is going to be our floor. This is good. Now let's go with the charts. So I'm just gonna go towards the rounded rectangle tool. I'm gonna draw something like this. And again, I'm just gonna use the arrow tools to fix the position. Okay, this is good. Now we need to work on the sort of the ramps. So I'm just gonna add the gradient ramp. Let's just turn it off for a second so we can see the colors. And also let's just turn down the fill. We don't at this point. Let's just quickly turn it off for a second. So this is going to be our color first. This is going to be last. And then let's just reveal it. And now we need to sort of give it a fill, something like this. Okay. We have an issue with the gradient ramp. Let's just simply add the gradient ramp from here. That just works fine for me as well. Okay, this is good. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to call it chart 1. And quickly, I'm just going to design the other charts as well. So we just need to duplicate them, fix the anchor points, and then we just need to scale them. So quickly, I'm just going to design them. All right, so here's the charts design that we have in here. Now it is time to sort of animate the first and second scene. So we have something like here. We don't need it. Let's just turn off the floor for now and we focus on the charts. Okay, so if your stuff, let's just turn them off for now, and let's just also turn off the animation so you can just see the if your stuff. Now it is time to morph it to the second scene. Well, to do that, what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna duplicate the camera. Let's press U to reveal the keyframes, and then I'm just gonna delete them. And about here, I'm just gonna set a keyframe, and then I'm just gonna go about here, let's say, and I'm gonna zoom in the null. However, we need to parent the first null to the second one so we can control it better. So now I'm just gonna sort of push like this. However, we just need to tune down this one a bit. Great. So I'm just going to set it on 75% influence. And then I'm just going to open the graph editor. When our graph is at here, which is at its highest speed, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to cut these layers. And then I'm just gonna reveal these layers like this. So we will have something like this. Let's also just cut the floor. We just missed it.
And if your stuff is mediocre, you are...
You see that?
And if your stuff is mediocre, you are...
Great. Now also we need to animate the phone. So to do that, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to press R to reveal the rotation. I'm just going to set the Y rotation on 90 degree. Let's just also cut the beginning of it, and let's just go about 50 frames forward, and let's just set it on 0. So let's just animate it for 70%, but however, I'm just gonna push these frames a bit.
Joker, you are
push these frames a bit backward so we have the animation happening.
Joker, you are...
Okay, that's great, but we need to push the phone a bit further than the charts. So this is going to be like this.
Mediocre, you are... Mediocre, you are...
So as you see, it's a little bit too slow, so I'm just gonna... Okay.
mediocre. You are is mediocre. You are mediocre. You are
okay, this is good now. So we have something like this.
And if your stuff is mediocre, you are
okay, that's great. Now, one thing that we need to sort of zoom these charts. So I'm just gonna, for now, zoom this floor a bit further like this. And then what we need to do is that we need to also work on the charts. So to do that is pretty simple. We can just push them for now a bit towards the camera. So let's just see the reel for 1 second so we can see how it was. Okay, it was something like this, and this can allow us to, you know, position it better. Okay, so we can fix that by simply just adjusting these parameters really quickly. So I'm just gonna just push them a bit down. Okay, this is super good. Now what we are going to do, let's just close these keyframes. We're gonna add a new camera movement in here. And let's just reveal them. Okay, let's just delete the keyframes on them. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna parent the second null to the third null. So this will control it. And then we need to add a zoom out keyframe, but however, we just need to push this one a bit backward. Right now it's interfering with the phone. Okay, this is good. Now we just need to sort of create a zoom out animation, something like this. And then it just need to go further. And we need to sort of fix the positioning of these charts. So I'm just gonna set it on here. Let's just also fix the charts right now. As you see, they look really pretty ugly because I've changed the position on the.
mediocre. You are losing.
This is exactly what we want.
Mediocre. You are losing.
And let's just push it a bit further like this.
Mediocre. You are losing.
Great. Now what we can do, just
mediocre. You are losing. Is mediocre. You are losing.
Now this is exactly what we want. So let's just watch.
And if your stuff is mediocre, you are losing.
Great. Now what we need to do lastly is that we need to remove the iPhone animation. So when it's in here, I'm just gonna add the opacity keyframes, and then I'm just gonna set it like this. And then we need to replace it sort of with text. So we're just gonna add the UR, and let's just change it font. Let's just duplicate it. And now let's just set it on 3D so we can see it better. This will be like this. And then we can just use the normal opacity when the iPhone disappears. We can just start revealing those texts. This is exactly like this. Now, if you open the Reels for one more time, you will see that in here we have a character that just sort of falls into his knees, and we have the text, so I don't have that footage. But however, let's just get back and we need to do a quick stylization to make it even better. So let's just turn off the reel for a second. So the first thing I'm just gonna add is a new adjustment layer. So let's just quickly add a new adjustment layer in empty space. New adjustment layer. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm just gonna add the film grunge effect. So let's just change it into grain for more grain like this. And then I'm just gonna duplicate this adjustment layer. Let's just remove the effects and add the posterize timer. And let's just set the posterize time to 50. So this will be our final animation.
And if your stuff is mediocre, you are losing the battle. And if your stuff is mediocre, you are losing the battle. And if your stuff is mediocre.
So here we are at the end of this video, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave out a like and subscribe to the channel, as it would help me out a lot for the future content. Thank you so much. Goodbye.